Alrighty, so I'm getting around to it. Thanks to you guys that went to Twitter and tweeted your Royal Rumble questions for this Wednesday Q&A episode. It's time to answer these questions. Let's get started here. V2 of Doom asks, am I the only one who doesn't get Dolph Ziggler's appeal? No, not by any stretch of the imagination. I don't think you're the only one. I know I most certainly do not. I understand it, but I don't get it. There's a difference. Sometimes you can understand or see why people get into a character, but you don't get it. It's like, why? I gotta look at Ziggler. I see a guy that many fans feel has been underutilized for years. They identify with him because he represents a lot of what they feel is wrong with the WWE in terms of that kind of toiling in mid-card hell. I mean, you're talking about a guy that's occasionally gotten an opportunity but never really fully gotten an opportunity. The company's never really fully gotten behind him. He's good in the ring, as a lot of fans feel. So as a result, they get behind him. I understand that. I don't get it. All these years later, I still don't know who the fuck Dolph Ziggler is. I don't know what type of character he's supposed to be. I don't see why people think he is so outstanding in the ring. I think he's okay in the ring. I think he's good in the ring. I don't think he's star-spangled awesome in the ring. I think his overselling is a bit ridiculous in my opinion. So I understand the appeal, but I don't really get it. I just think there are better performers than a Dolph Ziggler. My opinion. I think I would much rather get behind a Dean Ambrose or a Seth Rollins than I would a Dolph Ziggler. And most certainly would be more behind a Daniel Bryan than a Dolph Ziggler. And if we are being perfectly honest here, you look at a Daniel Bryan or a CM Punk compared to a Dolph Ziggler, there is no comparison. So I don't understand why so many people that are fans of CM Punk or Daniel Bryan, or even Dean Ambrose or Seth Rollins, would be so huge on Dolph Ziggler, because there just frankly is no comparison, in my opinion. Let's see here. Yule Bryan, where does this Rumble rank with the rest? Interesting question. I think the Rumble match itself and the build up to it and the execution of it is one of the worst that I've ever seen. Maybe the worst. I mean, it was bad. It was really bad. I mean, let's keep it real. It was not a good Rumble match. It was terrible. Just so many things about it were so bad. So it's got to be one of the worst. In terms of the overall show, it gets helped out and propped up tremendously by that outstanding triple threat title match. It's a show you'll remember. So that's something to be positive about it. Many other Royal Rumble shows that you really don't remember, you might remember the winner, but that's it. And even then, it's kind of like, well, you'll remember this show. You'll never forget this show. So if anything, that's a good thing. And then Yul Bryan wants to know, how happy was Summer when Reigns won? Very happy, needless to say. She was running around the house afterwards and pissing all over the place. She was just beside herself with ecstasy, if you will. Dan Coleman 7, with the Royal Rumble now over and done with, how would you book the match card for WrestleMania 31? Ew. I mean, I look at it and I see a show that should be so much more than it's ultimately going to be. And I see a show where the structure of it's just going to be off. Like, I'm fine with Roman Reigns versus Brock Lesnar. That's the direction I'm going in. Seth Rollins, I would put up against Randy Orton because that makes a lot of sense. And then later on at the night, as I've mentioned before, I'd have Seth Rollins cash in and win Money in the Bank. That's what I would do. Or not win Money in the Bank, excuse me, win the world title. Be the champion leaving WrestleMania 31. But, they're going to go down the Cena Rusev path. I'd much rather go down the Rusev Ryback path. They're going to go down the Triple H and Sting path, and I'd much rather, if it's going to happen, much rather have a Sting versus Taker match and maybe a Triple H versus Dean Ambrose match. I look at it and I see a card where not a lot of the pieces have been put together yet. And maybe they know where they're going, and frankly, maybe they don't. But I look at it and I say to myself, what are you going to do with Bray Wyatt if Taker doesn't wrestle? What are you going to do with Dean Ambrose, period? What are you going to do with Daniel Bryan, period? I mean, that's a lot of question marks here, and I have significant concerns. For my money, I'm sticking with Reigns versus Lesnar. I'm going with Rollins versus Randy Orton. I'm going with Ryback versus Rusev. I'm going Ambrose versus Triple H. I mean, you could maybe go back to Cena versus Wyatt, so that way Wyatt can get the revenge. I'd be okay with that. It's just hard. I mean, I don't like the structuring of where they're probably going to go with this. It's not going to be the worst in the world, but I think they could do better, and I think it's going to be a little bit off. Let me see here. Tyler Dynamite. After the Rumble, do you think Cena or Reigns would have been the guy getting cheered at Mania if it had gone that way? Oh, okay, I get what you're saying now. In terms of if Cena had won the title, Reigns would be getting the cheers. There's no question about it. But the WWE wouldn't want to sit there and send Cena into the main event and have him be so roundly booed. They've done it before, but out of necessity more than anything else. In this case, they don't really want to do that. I still personally think that that's who Reigns should be facing at WrestleMania. I think that's who he should be beating at WrestleMania. But that's not the direction the WWE chose to go in. And then Tyler Dynamite also asked, should Reigns join the Authority and become heel now that the people are booing him and be that corporate choice? Should he just own it? No. No. Just because the hardcore fans might not be behind him, just because the hardcore fans don't like him that much in a lot of cases, doesn't mean that they should back off of what they want to do. Fuck those fans. Prove them wrong. Make it work. When in doubt, heel them out. I'll give you that. That's true. But you shouldn't always have to heel turn. That's not always fixing the problem. Because he could be just as bad as a heel, if not worse, than he would be as a babyface. And just because it would give people more of an opportunity to boo him, so to speak, that doesn't mean that he's actually getting heel heat or the right type of heel heat or working as a heel. No, I don't think they should turn Reigns heel. I think that's ridiculous. I really, truly do. I truly think that is completely and totally ridiculous. I don't think the timing is right. I don't think the situation is right. But that's just me. Let me see here. Jordan X57X. Did you think that Sting would show up at the Royal Rumble? And what grade would you give the WWE World Heavyweight Championship match on a scale of 1 to 5? 1 to 5, I don't like to rate him like this, but if I did, it'd probably at least be a 4.5. I mean, that's a match that deserves an A grade. Does it deserve an A minus or an A or an A plus? I don't know. But it deserves some type of A grade. There's no question. So I would say 4.5, and that is just fine. And I wouldn't give out that kind of grade that often. I see a lot of people when they do their different reviews of like WWE or TNA or ROH or New Japan or whatever type of shows, and they give so many matches, way too high of star ratings or number ratings, and it kind of diminishes the credibility of those matches that actually deserve that grade. This match here deserves that grade, so I would give it an A. It was that good. I don't know if it was perfect to get a 5, but it was a 4.5 out of 5. There's no question. And did I think Sting was going to show up at the Rumble? No. I figured with them having him show up on Raw like that meant he wasn't going to be at the Rumble. And I'm okay with him not showing up at the Rumble because in large part there really wasn't a place to fit him. It didn't really make sense. They didn't need to do that, and I thought it was the right decision. Larkin _ would having Cena and Reigns in the final 2 with Reigns eliminating Cena have stopped the crowd booing him? It might have initially caused even more uproar and outrage, but I was really surprised that Cena wasn't in the damn Rumble match. Or hell, at that point, frankly, even freaking Rollins. I thought it was a huge miss by the WWE. Especially if you're going to have the title match go on before, why not send Cena and or Rollins back into that freaking Rumble match? Especially in the case of Cena, why not send him out there? Why not come up with that contingency plan? Come up with the little changing of the guard, passing of the torch type moment in the Rumble that would set you up very nicely, potentially, for a big-time money match down the road between the two of them over the title at SummerSlam or Survivor Series or next year's Royal Rumble or WrestleMania 32. I thought it was a huge missed opportunity. Ahmed underscore LW. Am I the only one who sees that Reigns versus Lesnar is actually appealing? It could be very entertaining. No, I agree. I think it could be appealing. I think it could be very entertaining. And based off of what I saw on Raw this week with their face-off and their showdown, I felt it. And I understood it. And I got it. And I liked what I saw. And I want more of it. So, and I don't think you're the only one that sees the appeal in it. I think there are other people that see the appeal in it, and hopefully over the course of the next 2 months, more people will come on board and more people will see the appeal of it. Frankly, I think there is a lot more appeal to Reigns versus Lesnar than there would have been, let's say, a Daniel Bryan versus a Lesnar, because then it's a David versus Goliath story, Daniel Bryan feuding with the Authority again. A lot of the elements would feel the exact same. And when you looked at Roman Reigns and you looked at Brock Lesnar on Monday Night Raw, you're like, yeah, this is the closest you could come at this point for an opponent for Brock Lesnar. Imagine doing that same type of segment with the Daniel Bryan. Does it really work? I don't really think so. Let me see here. Diclonius Games. With Arnold going into the Hall of Fame, what other celebrity would you put in as well? Well, that really isn't a Royal Rumble question. The whole point of doing the Royal Rumble hashtag was to ask Royal Rumble related questions. However, with that said, what other celebrity could I see go in or should go in? The first one that jumps to mind would be Andy Kaufman. I've never understood why he still isn't in the WWE Hall of Fame. He should be. He should be, in my opinion. Duke THS, would a 40-man Rumble work if they only had 2 to 3 other matches on the card? No. I think the 40-man Rumble, we've been there before. It didn't really work. It was just too many people spread out over too much, and nothing really stood out. I don't think that match worked all that particularly well. I mean, I'd almost get to the point where I kind of wish the Royal Rumble was a one-match show. I mean, just make it this one big, huge spectacle. Fuck the rest of the bullshit. Here it is, the Royal Rumble match. You've got an hour of it. It's the only match of the night. I know that might not ever happen, but I think it should happen. Why have anything else on that particular show's card? Why not have it just be about the Royal Rumble? You devote an hour to it ahead of time to do backstage interviews. You do sit-down interviews. You make it feel like a big-time sporting event. You bring in all these different faces and have them talk about it. And then you've got that Royal Rumble match, and that is it. That would be one change I would make, is just make the Royal Rumble pay-per-view or special event just a one-match show. It would just be the Royal Rumble, and that is it. Some might not like that, and I get it, but that's what I would do. All right, let's see here. Mr. Pio 1, where would you rank the Lesnar-Cena Rollins match in Rumble matches history? In my opinion, it was a classic. Oh, it was a classic. There's no question about it. I mean, is it the best Rumble, non-Rumble Rumble match of all time? Maybe, maybe not. I mean, maybe it's a bit soon to say that, but I mean, it's definitely one of the best ones that I've ever seen at a Royal Rumble pay-per-view. There's no question about it. Let's see here. Anybody else got anything? NJCT, how pissed off would the crowd have been if Roman tossed out Daniel Bryan to win the Rumble? Oh my God. You want to talk about a riot? The only way it would have worked is you would have had to have Bryan, Cena, and Reigns in the final 3. And you would have had to have Cena eliminate Bryan and then Reigns quickly dispatch of Cena. That way, at least, Reigns is the one that eliminated your one. That'd be the only way that it could work. And then DeGabriel98 asks, how would you book a Cena versus Rusev feud leading up to WrestleMania? I wouldn't. I don't want to know where this is going, and it's probably not going somewhere I'm going to particularly like. And I think Rusev versus Ryback was the match that should have been had for Mania, in my opinion. So anyways, thanks to you guys that submitted your questions for this Royal Rumble Q&A. I'll be back Friday with another Q&A episode, the Facebook Friday edition. So Thanks again for submitting your questions. Check out my 2015 Royal Rumble review. Check out my most recent video about Roman Reigns and whether or not he's really ready, especially compared to CM Punk and Daniel Bryan when they got their opportunities. I'm sure a lot of you could have an opinion about that one.